Too many schools at all levels indoctrinate, not educate. This dumbing down and indoctrination in the U.S. education system is bad and getting worse. What is the root cause of school indoctrination? The root cause of the education crisis started during the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s and was inspired by Marxist communist socialism. Many radical left-wing ideologues were involved, and like any movement, there were the thought leaders. Paulo Freire was one of the key figures in the Marxist movement in schools. In The Marxification of Education, James Lindsay notes that the book Pedagogy of the Oppressed by the Brazilian educational theorist Paulo Freire is the third most cited source in the social sciences and humanities. Lindsay notes that Paulo Freire's theory of education dominates colleges in North America and most K-12 schools. For example, Lindsay explains on page 189, the Friedman approach to education is based off the work of the Brazilian Marxist Paulo Freire, who is most famous for his 1970 book Pedagogy of the Oppressed. This book is the third most cited source in all of the social sciences and humanities and enjoys pride and curricular centrality in virtually every college of education in North America. The Freirean method, called critical pedagogy because it makes a critical theory, neo-Marxist theory, out of education itself, lies beneath, behind, or relevant to every pedagogical trend in education over the last 20 to 30 years, including social-emotional learning, CEL, culturally relevant teaching, comprehensive sexual education, and project-based learning schemes. Culturally relevant teaching is unambiguously and unapologetically a direct repackaging of the Freirean approach into the context of cultural competence and American identity politics. Freire's pedagogy is a disaster for education and our children, and has no place in our schools. What Freire did, in short, was to Marxify education. The seeds of Marxism that were planted have grown and flourished among numerous radical left-wing ideologues over the decades, and now pose a serious threat to the United States and our freedoms. This is deeply unsettling and explains much about the damage to the education system. Note, pedagogy means the method and practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or theoretical concept. The systemic moral bankruptcy of too many for too long is widespread and disheartening. In Social Justice Fallacies, author Thomas Sowell explains the biased, chilling, indoctrinating agenda taught by numerous schools on page 111. Today it is possible, even in our most prestigious educational institutions at all levels, to go literally from kindergarten to a PhD without ever having read a single article, much less a book, by someone who advocates free market economics or who opposes gun control laws. Whether you would agree with them or disagree with them, if you read what they said is not the issue. The far larger issue is why education has so often become indoctrination, and for whose benefit. Is it any wonder why a great number of students, 1. Aren't able to think critically and make decisions based on facts, data, and empirical evidence, aren't able or willing to objectively review all sides of an argument. Toxic philosophies taught in schools have spilled over and become a huge problem. In the book American Marxism, author Mark Levin paints a disturbing picture of how the core elements of Marxist ideologies are now extensive in American culture and society, in schools, corporations, Hollywood, the media, and the Democrat Party. One example of these Marxist spillovers is going woke. In the book Woke, author Vivek Ramaswamy delves deeply into the problem of companies with radical and harmful agendas. According to Ramaswamy, woke means obsessing about race, gender, and sexual orientation. Woke started in schools and has spread into major corporations, the government, the media, and Hollywood. Yesterday's students are today's social warriors. Companies that go woke pay a high price for their ideological beliefs when these toxic philosophies backfire, and people go elsewhere for comparable goods and services. This is one of the beauties of living in a free market capitalist country. We can still vote with our feet and our dollars. When the government, schools, companies, the media, and Hollywood jump on the woke bandwagon, our society's fabric begins to fray. Instead of equality, victimization is applied to race, gender, and sexual orientation, bringing them to the front and center. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. Abraham Lincoln. Censorship in colleges and beyond. Radical left-wing liberal intellectuals have strived, with much success, to censor free speech on many college campuses. Common forms of censoring include harassment, intimidation, safe spaces, name-calling, working to cancel, censor, or shout down speakers with alternative views, and occasional threats or actual violence. Some censoring has spread to workplaces through cancel culture, virtue signaling, name-calling, and more. Censorship has crept into the government. For example, in 2022, the Biden administration established a Ministry of Truth as a disinformation governance board. It is intriguing to note that the Ministry of Truth is an organization that was first mentioned in George Orwell's novel 1984. That is some serious copycatting. Biden's Ministry of Truth was quickly put on hold due to public backlash, concerns about censorship and legal challenges. It is likely no surprise that that occurred. Confidence in higher education is plummeting. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, America's confidence in higher education is plummeting. Here are the numbers for a great deal, or quite a bit of confidence in higher education in 2015, 2018, and 2023. In 2015, the confidence was 57%. In 2018, the confidence was 48%. And in 2023, the confidence was 36%. There is a clear downtrend of loss of confidence. This isn't surprising given the dismal graduation rates, poor employment after college, depressing career results, indoctrination by many schools, and toxic philosophy spillover. Ideologies taught at home versus at schools. It is incredibly tough for students today because of conflicting visions. At home, many students are taught respectful values and beliefs such as truth, honesty, integrity, love of family and country, the rule of law, the U.S. Constitution, and free market capitalism. This directly opposes what they are taught in numerous schools, such as identity politics, the woke ideology, anti-Americanism, critical race theory, CRT, social and emotional learning, SEL, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DL, gender ideology, and more. This can be extremely disorienting and damaging, especially for young minds. It creates a difficult and confusing situation for students during the most formative years of their lives when they struggle to understand the world and their role in it. When questioning which set of values and beliefs to follow, a student needs to ask himself or herself two tough questions. Which of these opposing ideologies bring us together, and which one tears us apart? Do I want to align with people who truly care about me and have my best interest in mind, or with a group of people who want to indoctrinate me with toxic ideologies of being distrustful, disrespectful, and deceptive?